we need more than just reparations for slavery. It's not just slavery that has harmed the black community, but systemic racism like uh, Jim Crow that prevented a lot of people from getting actual good jobs and living in good places. You had uh, the era where the KKK thrived, and lots of people lost their lives, their jobs, their income, and stuff like that. Uh, the war on drugs, that was just a war on black people, and a lot of people lost their lives and their livelihood. Their families were destroyed. Segregation, where, again, people lost their livelihood, their families, and their lives were destroyed. Uh, it's not just slavery that had an impact on the United States, but the decades after, and reparations are deserving for those people as well. We need to fix those wrongs.
Today, Americans everywhere are commemorating the emancipation of enslaved people in the United States. In honor of Juneteenth, CBS News Streaming is hosting a special marathon of BET's America in Black series later on today. Joining us now is special correspondent for America in Black, Ed Gordon. His reporting will be featured in this marathon. So, Ed, what you covered was the topic of reparations in your reporting, specifically the return of stolen land. What can you tell us about these efforts?
Sure, and hello to you both. Glad to be here. Reparations is something that's been going on generationally. The fight for African Americans in this country to be paid back for their descendants' enslavement. But we've seen it as blips on a radar screen, up and down, whether or not we were going to see it. And often you think of a check coming to people. That's how it's been talked about most often. But of late, people are also going after land that was taken, often by eminent domain. That
There's a lot of lakes and stuff that have been created on land that was taken uh, from black communities. Part of Central Park in New York City were a couple of communities that was majority black. Uh, uh, a number of a lot of the highways went through various black communities, and eminent domain was used to take their land and destroy the communities. Uh, it was purposely made for these highways to go through uh, black communities to destroy them.
their ancestors held, and you might imagine what generational wealth a family might have been able to generate because of that.
So, is the focus of your piece on on all reparations, or specifically returning land?
We look specifically at returning land, the idea that, and as you're seeing there, uh, there are families who are seeing and fighting for land return. So that specifically is what we focus on in this edition.
You also spoke with a Black American, Ed, who is against reparations for the descendants of slaves. I like how you bring both perspectives to your reporting. Break down for our viewers what some of what the opposing perspective is specifically on this. What did you hear? What did you learn?
Well, there are those. Armstrong Williams is the person that we spoke to, a familiar conservative for those in the political
No surprise that it's a black conservative that's against reparations, because conservatives are against reparations for black people. Uh, they don't seem to have too much of a problem for reparations for various Native American tribes that do get it, and giving it to black people would be no different than reparations that, Native Americans get for the wrongs that were done to them.
arena. And Armstrong's belief is that this really will bring, no justice to African Americans, that in some people's minds, it's not even due. No reparations are due back. They just see you as a citizen. So he has been strong in his ideal that there are better ways to repay African Americans for the enslavement of descendants, and does not see reparations or land return as the best way to do it.
What we need to do is give cash for uh, people who are descendants of slaves and were affected by systemic racism in the United States. Uh, give land back that was taken from black communities and black homeowners and business owners and stuff, as well as invest in communities to as another measure of helping black communities grow with added added cash flow into these communities with various loans, grants and stuff like that, as well as just aid for various people that need it.
I think the word reparations, it triggers people, right? But specifically when we
It only triggers right wingers when it comes to reparations for black people.
talk about land, it has for a very long time been the best, most effective way of building wealth, intergenerational wealth. And so I want you to sort of help people understand why the conversation about giving stolen land back is such a game changer, why it's so important.
Well,
Yeah, as she's saying, land is one of the best ways to generate generational wealth, which is why land is consistently stolen from various groups of people by those in power. Like during the Salem witch trials, uh, lots of men were dying. Uh, their sons were either dying or they didn't have sons to pass the land to, so the women were gaining that land, that income, that power. So the people decided to start accusing these people of being witches so that they can steal the land from them. That's why freed black people were not given the land that they worked upon, even though they deserved it. It was a way of preventing these people from gaining generational wealth.
in the story, we talk with the family of Lorraine Hansberry, Ms. Hansberry, best known as the author of A Raisin in the Sun. Her family, her father owned 13 properties in Chicago in the 30s and 40s. And imagine for an African American just to own any land, let alone 13 properties, was extraordinary at that time. What we know is had those lands, those properties been held over those generations, we're talking about multi-million dollars that would have been amassed for that family. So the idea that so much land has been taken from black people over the years really does speak to the idea of missing wealth that all families could have had and would certainly have helped close the wealth gap that continues to grow. We should underline that, to grow in this country in relation to black households and white households.
It's like with the burning of Black Wall Street in Tulsa. Uh, a bunch of white people rioted with the help of the state, and they burned down several blocks of black neighborhoods. I forgot the exact reason. The exact reason doesn't truly matter. The fact that just a bunch of white people were mad that there were wealthy black people living too close to them, and the state, the cops, citizens killed a bunch of people and firebombed the entire neighborhood. And this isn't something that's talked about in US history because the United States doesn't want you to know that a bunch of white racist people burned down a black neighborhood and got away with it with the help of the state.
All right, Ed Gordon, thank you very much. Thank you so much for appearing with us.